Mic check 1 2 1 3. Mic check 1 2. Your boy got glasses. You know, the VA told me that I needed them, so here I am with the fresh pair on. got my got my Professor Oakley on. Let me take these off. What is up? You know what? The professor is in the building. Class is in session. What's up, everybody? Mic check 1 2 1 3. Mic check 1 2 1 3. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. you got my Professor Oakley's on. Just got him today. I remember when I was a kid. I used to try to pretend that I was blind so I can see, so I can get some glasses. My mama wasn't having that. So, because I think I know me, right? I have my daughter who went to the eye doctor, and then I was away on business, and my wife calls and said, "Yeah, she needs glasses." I said, "Oh, she lying," because I swear I was like, she just me. She lying to get some glasses. All right. See you, hear you, love to see it. So everybody in green, shout out to you. You Sacrifice4Riches Discord. I love to see you here, all the YouTube members. But we already know what time it is. As you see in the thumbnail, I won't waste a lot of time. But welcome to the very first session of KGU 101 live training session series, brought to you by Sacrifice4Riches. Let's go. Right. So today's the topic is setting up your trading zone, and this is all about helping you build consistency by controlling the one thing you can control, and that's your environment. All right. So I've invited the members of my YouTube community as well as members of KGU. This is an unlisted video. This will not be made public. I mean, I might do a clip here and there or whatever just to build my audience, but at the end of the day, this is exclusive content for you guys. Now, I'll have to say this. Those that are members of my community, right? Sacrifice4Riches, just know that we already have an established class 101 session over there to where I am providing a foundational understanding of what I do and what I see in the market. That way we're all talking the same language, and when I'm posting these charts and these plays, they kind of know how to break it down, right? They know how to kind of go about executing the plays as they see fit. Okay, so excuse me. So a couple things. I must apologize in advance. All right. One, your boy is due for surgery. I got 3 wisdom teeth that are being removed. It was going to be tomorrow, but it was scheduled for numbing instead of me going to sleep. And I was told that going with numbing is just not the way to go. So I have a little bit of a mouth problem. So as I'm talking, just bear with me because I get the chills and there's like a sore, and it's just it's a whole thing. So bear with me. All right. Also, I've been doing this for a while, but now I'm doing this representing KGU, right? So I want to make sure I don't screw this up. So just be nice. All right. I'm doing my best to share with you what I know. And just know some of you may know more than I do. Your approach might be different than my approach. You may not agree with some of the things that I say, but I can only speak to what works for me. And as someone that's tuning in right now, I would say the best practice is that if a lot of it you already know, just try to see if you can pull anything out of it and then make it your own, right? I'm always learning. I'm learning from people that are trash in the market. I'm learning from people that are goats in the market, because there's always a lesson to be had no matter who's in this game, because somebody's L's is somebody's lessons. And I'm doing my best to keep it 100 through and through. Whether I have an L or wins, I share it. I'm transparent, and I'm learning from my lessons. And by me learning from mine, I share and exploit myself so you guys can learn from those L's as well. So hopefully y'all can appreciate that. I know some of you have been rocking with me for a long time. So shout out to everybody that's here. I appreciate the the comments in advance. But we about to get into it. But before I jump into the charts and then talking about what the lesson plan is today, let me know in the chat if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, right? I gotta warm up, man. I need a space heater. Whew, man. All right, so while you guys are talking, chopping it up, whatever, the outline pretty much is setting up the trading zone and why it matters, my personal setup, must-haves, and then like some disciplines for whatever that I do in order to kind of get through. Now, there's levels to this. I can go into layers, but that's not what this is about. It says 101. This is not 201. This is not 301. This is not TPOs and volume profiles and stuff like that. Like we may touch on those points throughout this series, but there's a lot to talk about in the market, okay? And I can probably give you a quick overview of all of the things I will talk about throughout this series for months to come, okay? So let me see if I can just do that, because that might shed some light so people can just know what to expect when they tune in, all right? Whew. All right, la. Let's see if I can do it this way. Give me a minute. Okay, so if I go ahead and share the screen, window capture, and let's go to that, and let's go to my Canva. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so on my screen, I'm kind of like an OCD dude. I don't like to half do anything, really, right? It's just not who I am. That's why I just operate the way that I do, because I don't want to embarrass myself at the end of the day, right? So as you can see, I don't know if you can really tell, but let's see if I can just zoom in to some of these. Whoa. All right, let's go presentation mode. Let's do that. And let's go full screen. One moment. I'm gonna give y'all a quick. This was not a part of the plan. Here I am doing extra stuff. All right, it's not working. All right, let's see if I can do it this way. My bad, y'all. Go to screen. Yeah, something's off with my system here. Yeah, something's off, and I can't fix it right now. All right, so essentially, I'll just name off what I got, okay? So throughout this series, we're going to touch on risk management. We're going to touch on the psychology of trading and the aspects that fall within that, market structures. We're going to touch on supply, demand, support, resistance, okay? We're going to touch on price action paired with entries and exits, imbalances. We're going to touch on how to use volume to trade, option Greeks, and general information there. Hold on, let me make sure I got everything straight. Amongst other things, all right? So, here we go. There's more. All right, so calculating a risk and risk reward, and then some of the indicators that I use that might support my trading style, okay? So everybody trades different. Some people use TPOs, some people use volume profiles, some people use just pure support and resistance, some people use breakout structures, some people like just use price action. There's all these different methods. There's 1,000 different indicators. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat, but at the end of the day, I'm a very simple-minded dude. So I'm my brain overcomplicates things. So I've learned throughout my trading process that I need to simplify my process in order to be able to be profitable in this game, because I was not profitable for a long time, right? So I finally found my rhythm, how my brain works, and how I can utilize how this works to make me money. All right, and hopefully throughout this series, it helps you in any way. So if y'all can appreciate that, make sure you hit the like. All right, are we back? I got an error code. I need to know, are we good? Chat check. I got an error code, y'all. I apologize. Hopefully we're still here though. Okay, man, sometimes that happens and then I had to restart the whole thing. So, all right, thanks for bearing with me. Okay, thank you. All right, so I forgot where I was, but we're just gonna get right into it. All right, so let's do. All right, I think we're good now. All right, can we see the screen? Can you see the chart? And can you see me? I don't think I need to be that big though, huh? I really don't. I don't need that big. I don't need to be that big. All right, sounds good. All right, so let me get y'all set up. All right, and I can see the comments, and then we're gonna just dive in. All right, so this tab will be the official KGU Sacrifice for Riches chart. Okay, so what are we gonna talk about today? Thank you, Arlen. I already told you we're gonna talk about setting up our zones, setting up our trading zones. So first of all, why do I set up a trading zone, right? Well, for one, I don't just wake up in the morning and then just hop into like the market and start trading. Absolutely not. At the beginning of every week, I go live with the orcas, the anglers, and the megalodons of my YouTube members group, and then we go over the charts and we break down the levels in the zone to which we're trading in. At the beginning of every month, I show the entire structure for the month and give ranges and levels for any situation that could occur within the entirety of the month. So today, I'm pretty much going over a little bit of the market structure and then how I'm finding my zones. And hopefully it's a foundational starting point, especially for those that are new when you're trying to figure out what you're trading today, right? So if you know what's going on, great. If you don't, then tune in, right? So what I typically do, I'll start with my week in the weekly, and we're using the SPY as an example because the SPY is just good for the overall market. All right, so what I do, I zoom all the way out and I take a look at the trend of the overall market. So of course we already know what time it is. Are we in an uptrend or downtrend, or are we trading sideways? What would you say, right? Now I know some of you might say, well, Rail, that's basic, elementary. Obviously we're here, that, and whatever, but we have to realize as a community that there are people that are coming into the game every day that has no idea what anything means. So I have to make sure that when I'm communicating, I keep that in mind, because not everybody's on the same level as you. And remember where you started, okay? That's what I need everybody to do. Remember where you started, because you didn't know what was going on at one point either, okay? So we're in an uptrend, right? Essentially, we have higher highs and higher lows. So what I'll do, you don't have to do this, but I draw my lines. I have my parallel channel, and I get to see where price is reacting to our ascending line of resistance and our ascending line of support, right? I have my tools that allow me to see kind of what the trend or pattern looks like. Okay, so the first thing I do, I identify the trend. The second thing I do is try to figure out where previous resistance was broken and then became new support, right? So for me, I'm looking like, okay, well, this looks about right. Now, it's not just your highest point or your lowest point necessarily, everybody. You need to understand that if you have a single point that's strong, that's just a strong indication of resistance or support. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the range you need to like set your zone for. And I'll explain what I mean in a little bit. Okay. So, but this line right here, I'm gonna go to the 4, and I'm just gonna do a solid line, and then I'll make it white. So this level right here was a previously identified strong resistance that we finally broke above, and then we came down and we bounced, right? So we found support. Resistance became support. Is that making sense? Right? There we go. But so I know that we don't really care about anything below this level at this time, right? It makes no sense. So sometimes I do things like this where I black out, bring to front. Hold on. I'll black out the zone because it doesn't matter. This is not important to me right now. The only thing that's important is the level. Okay. So then I'll zoom into what matters, which is the area to which I am trading. I'll delete this because I don't need it anymore. So from here, we already know that this is the high, right? And then this is the low, but I wouldn't necessarily, because we're this high now, we have this V-shaped recovery, I'm paying attention to this. But before we got up here, I was not looking in this area whatsoever for trading. I was actually trading below 566.57, which we all were in reality. So, but anyway, so now I'm going to go to my daily, because now I'm zooming in and I'm pretty much trying to identify where I'm going to be trading at, right? Let's get rid of this. So I'm paying attention and I'm looking to see where price was finding the most resistance at one point. So where do we get the most touches, right? And when I do this, right, I'm seeing about here. So this is telling me that this was a strong wall of resistance that we came up and we found support. So resistance, we broke, came back to retest, and we took off, right? So we're looking for things like that when we are trying to set up our zones. So what does this tell me at this point? This tells me that anything below 564.86 is irrelevant to me. I don't need to see this on my chart at all, right? So I get to zoom in further. So now I kind of have my trading zone to which, I'm focused, right? So then I'll go ahead and I'll figure out, well, where are we potentially headed? Where's our multiple points of contact? And that's it. And that's here at 609. Now, some people might tag the high of 613.08. Not me, right? It doesn't make sense because I have one candlestick. There's only one candlestick that's touching this, and then there is not a strong reaction here. Okay, so I am not going to utilize 613.33 as a point of interest of a potential resistance level. No, that's not important to me. What I'm paying attention to is where are we making the most contacts, right? The most hits to this level, right? Because at that point, I'm looking for it to break above it and confirm above it, right? But notice every time we come up, look, candles thin out, we are not confirming above this level. This helps me strengthen my position, my my entries and exits, right? My confirmations by doing it this way. So this isn't about a supply and demand zones or anything like that. This is about just setting up your trading zones. But real quick, I can identify that in this area, I do have supply established right here, right? So I can tie my supply zone in right here. And I know that this, as we approach this level, this will be an area of interest of, so that's what I'm paying attention to. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, so that will be my high. If you guys are looking at my charts, if I'm posting a chart of the SPY or NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is coming up, we might be doing that tomorrow. Playing the earnings possibly. I'll see what I see. And if I like something, I'll let everybody know. But essentially, all of my charts are color coded. So if you see a red line like this, right, then you know or will know that this is an area of resistance and it's likely a strong one. Okay. If you see a white line on my chart, then you will know that this is an area of support. Essentially, my red line and my white line represents my highs and my lows, my absolute high and my absolute low, right? For my floor and my ceiling, okay? For a range to which I'm trading, okay? So when you guys see that, you'll pretty much know how to act, all right? Let me pause. Let me make sure, are we tracking so far? Does everything make sense? And if not, let me know. If not, let me know. Okay, so now you have to identify what kind of trader are you? Are you a day trader? Are you a swing trader? Are you a scalper, right? Because that's going to kind of determine, once you have your trading zone, what you do from here, right? So now you have to kind of identify, okay, well, what are you doing? How are you trading this? What are you looking for? What time frame do you go to? For me, I go from the weekly, the daily, to the 4 hour. And I work my way down. And I'm just trying to figure out the zone to which I'm trading. So for me, that's probably going to be right about there. That's pretty close. All right. So another identifier of my charts, right? My chart will show you the red, the blue, and the white. Patriotic of me, right? So essentially, if you see a blue dash or dotted, like a dash line like this on my chart, that typically means that we are an area of interest. And typically that's like a point of control for most. However, my brain tells me that above this line is bullish and below this line is bearish. So if you ever see my chart and you see a blue dash line, then you will say, well, I know based on Rails charts that if we're above this blue dash line, pretty bullish, and vice versa. But the whole thing is you have to wait for consolidation, because in zones like this, you'll start to see chop, right? Because the market is trying to figure out where it's going, right? So if I were to go to a volume profile for something like this, we kind of skated up, but you can already see that this was an area of interest, right? If I were to drag this out to about here, then this zone is pretty much an area of interest. Okay, so but that's another thing. In reality, as I'm looking at this, because we have this gap, I probably would tighten up my zone to which I'm trading. So again, I'm zoomed in and now I'm looking for areas that was a previous resistance that's now a support, and that's probably closer to here, and then 584, so here and here. So let's do this. And then I can extend this as just not being important. Okay, which means that my section here is a little different. Okay. Everything's defined. Okay. So this is more in line with the blue charts that I've been sharing with you guys. All right. So this would be pretty much my zone. Above 592 is bullish at this point, and below it is bearish. There's a reason why I did not hop into calls at the end of the day. So I called the run up, right? I called the pop once we bounced, right? I called the retracement, the bounce, and then we took off, and we had like seconds left as it approached my take profit target, and you had the opportunity to exit that position, but I know some people held on. But remember when I posted that, I also stated that we are approaching a level of demand which acts as a previous level of resistance, or a new level of resistance, right? So I was not sold on hopping in or holding on to a position overnight based on where we were in the levels. But this is my structure, right? This is how I'm looking at the market as I approach it. Now there's more to it, right? Hold on, I'm zoomed in. Hold up. There's more to it. But I have my layout. I have my foundation. I have my picture. So when I look at the charts and I look at the market, my brain goes below this, bearish. Above this, bullish. And then this is not what I do on my charts. I'm just doing it for training purposes. So this is how my brain processes this chart right now. And then everything else is everything that comes with your strategy in how you're trading, whether you're swing trading, day trading. You're looking for your price action. You're looking for your confirmations. Are you doing breakouts? Are you all those things? What patterns do you see? I'm in the 4 hour. I can go to the 15 minute at this point, right? And then I would start working the charts and figuring out how I'm trading this. On the 15 minute, I've already identified, just looking at this at first glance, that this is a supply zone. This is an area of resistance, which makes sense because we're approaching, right, a point of interest for me of 592, right? Again, for me, it's a consolidated area. At least that's what my system and my process, my method tells me, okay? Okay? So, if I were to go here, this makes sense, right? Area of interest. All right. Any questions? Does that make sense? This is not a video on supply and demand. This is a video of me showing you how I structure or set up my zones. This is not me teaching you how I'm trading this, if that makes sense. Let me know if it makes sense. Oh, that's money. That's absolute money. All right. I'm waiting to see if there's anybody that has any questions in the comments. And also, I'd like to know if this was helpful. If you ever see yellow on my chart, that means that this is an area of interest. It's like the micro versions of my white and red lines, but because if I'm intraday trading, then it's a little different. These also can appear as green as my take profit targets, okay? But I'm not giving you a setup of the day tomorrow. This is just training. So, okay, yes, it makes sense. It gives me more insight. 595.50 is what I'm seeing on my daily as a strong upcoming test. 595.50. Okay, Well, I mean, we got a long way to go, big dog. Yeah, we got a long way to go. But until then, we got to make money on the way up. Caution. All right, yeah, yellow caution, exactly. Because as we approach um, my yellow lines, I be careful because it could be a strong bounce, or be careful, it could be a strong rejection, right? So like typically we have strong reactions at my yellow lines, okay? Just know. But they also act as great areas of interest for support resistance for entries, okay? Right? Just so you know. All right. Any questions? Now, one thing you're gonna notice as we continue through the series is that I don't use a ton of indicators. I I primarily use price action and volume, right? To trade. I study my chart patterns, and then I have a candlestick pattern cheat sheet that I've provided to everybody in KGU and Sacrifice for Riches. If you don't have that, let me know and I'll share it with you. You know what? Boom. There you go. Bam. If you don't have that, screenshot it. I made this specifically because I felt that the ones that were out and available didn't tell you enough. In my opinion, I'm a guy, like, the market is all about probabilities, right? Right? Well, I don't know a cheat sheet or a candlestick cheat sheet that covers probability. So I went ahead and I grabbed some of the stronger candlestick patterns, and then I attached a probability percentage to those patterns. So to which you can probably see, see if I can zoom in. Like, for example, if you see a hammer, right, you can say bullish reversal at the top of a downtrend. That's what it represents. And there is a 60 to 70% probability that it's going to be a strong downtrend. And here's our one of our highest probabilities. That's a morning star. So 3 candlestick candle reversal with a small middle candle. It's a 75 to 80% probability effective after sustained downtrend. So you have these things. Now you see 3 black crows. There's something called 3 white soldiers, which is like the reversal is the bullish side of things, but they represent the same thing. Just try to think inverse of this, but same thing, right? Where you have 3 consecutive bodies trading within one another with very little wicking at the top and bottom. These are 3 black crows or 3 white soldiers, right? So I don't know why they're white. I don't know why they're black. I don't know anything. It's just what it is. So, you know, how we do things in America. So, but anyway, if you don't have this, there you go. Let me see if I can reset it. Transform, reset, Oop. There we go. Boom. That is a Rel exclusive. Real talk. So that concludes that piece. All right. Now, let me make sure I cover everything I wanted to cover. The only thing to add to this whole thing that, like, I think is worth mentioning is like the type of indicators that you will use. Now I know some people use the MACDs or the RFIs or whatever, right? I use typically MFI, which is a money factor index. Look it up if you don't know what it is. And then I know a lot of people use VWAP. I don't use VWAP all the time, but I do have it available to me in the case that I need. But my charts are typically clean and not messy. Okay? You see a lot of chaotic stuff going on in charts, and I'm just letting you guys know that you don't need all that noise in order to trade in this market. Keep it simple, stupid. I was taught that. KISS, right? So don't overcomplicate your trading, because trading is complicated enough when your emotions are involved, right? So let's Let's remove all the noise so you can move with a clear mind. Okay. Um, let's see what else. If you don't have TradingView, I would recommend using TradingView as a charting tool. But I would not pay for it now. I will wait for Black Friday or Cyber Monday or something like that, where they're giving like 90% off, 90% off. And yeah, don't chase. Okay. So the only other thing about the chart and stuff like that I just covered is all the levels that you see on my chart when I'm posting them, most of them have alerts associated with them. Okay. So I would type an alert, and then I would actually enter a message that says confirmation above X level, go long, right? And that way I don't need to babysit and stare down the charts and like hope and pray that it goes in my direction. I kind of just move on with my day. And then when that alert hits, I get a text message, I get an email on my Gmail, I get a pop-up notification from TradingView, and then the message is clear. I don't need to think about what an alert means. So instead of just setting an alert that just is an alert, all the alerts generically say, oh, SPY is crossing above 590. Okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean when you have 15 different alerts on your device or on your charts for various different tickers? Like it can be overwhelming. So define your alerts so you can properly approach the market with having to think as little as possible. That's what I would recommend. But y'all do y'all. Y'all do y'all. All right. So everybody, let me know. Please, please, please let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you think that this was helpful. And if you want me to continue doing it this way, I think I'm going to do it regardless. But I just want to make sure that I am speaking clearly and making sense to people, because I am always willing to adapt. And of course, anybody, any crown traders or any admin or whatever from KGU, if you guys were paying attention to this, if you guys want to give me feedback, you want to see something different, just let me know. All right. But essentially, I've been in KGU for over 5 years. And like I tell my members in Sacrifice for Riches, I have that Discord, but I have it because it was requested. And I was kind of pushed to do it. And we have a great little community over there. However, I tell them every day that KGU is home. I tell them that. And that's not a cap, right? Because that's where I've been, and that's where I'll always be. So me doing this on behalf of KGU to help support that community and help it grow and sustain and create more value there, it's an honor at the end of the day. I'm just happy to be positioned and be capable and able to do it at this point of my trading career. So thanks for everybody for rocking with me. Thanks for being here. I appreciate everybody that supports and shows love. Please hit the like, subscribe. This will not be rewatchable like just willy-nilly. You'll have to save this link because this is an unlisted video. Okay, live stream. All right, that is all I got for y'all. This is Stocks for Real, Sacrifice for Riches, KGU. Y'all take care. Wait, y'all got questions? Then I'm gonna get off. Q&A. Y'all don't know this about me, but I set timers. I forgot to set my timer at the beginning of this, but I'm gonna set a 2-minute timer. I set timers. 2 minutes. I'm gonna sit here and chill. And I'm gonna just let people conjure up questions, and I'm gonna do my best to address those as it pertains to the topic at hand, okay? Yep, I lost the string, and I'm back. No questions today. All right, y'all. I'm out. I know I just tuned back in, but your boy's gone. Y'all take care.